If you asked me a couple weeks ago, who are the most disappointing teams in the league, I would have told you the Lakers, the Hawks, the Knicks, of course the Trailblazers, Zion. Yes, I said Zion. And I can add the Pelicans in there too for giving everybody false hope, acting like he was going to play at all this season. And they're still doing that. And then I would have said the Celtics. The Celtics, before Jaylen Brown's famous tweet that we will talk about later, were 24-22. They were very disappointing. Jason Tatum was playing super inconsistent. Their former picks that Danny Ainge held on to instead of trading, and Aaron Naismith and Peyton Pritchard, they weren't playing good at all. The Al Horford trade looked like it didn't work at all. And everyone but Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were in trade rumors. And then Jaylen Brown tweets, and I quote, "The energy is about to shift." On January 31st. I don't know what he felt for him to believe that, but boy was he right. After that tweet, this team has been 9-1 while having a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. And I believe they are the number one defense ever since that tweet. Their stars have been playing well all season, but in this stretch, their role players have finally stepped it up and they've been playing their butts off. Starting off with their anchor, Robert Williams. Robert Williams, over this stretch, has been averaging 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And he also had a game where he had a triple-double with, I believe, 10 assists. Al Horford, a player that they traded for in the offseason, he's been averaging 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks, while shooting 35% from the three, doing what they need from him, being a really good defender and being able to spread the floor. And then their addition in Derek White seems like it fits perfectly. A player that understands how to play winning basketball. He's been playing under Coach Popovich his whole life, and he actually knows how to play winning basketball, and that's a player that they needed, a player that really didn't have a big ego, so he knows what he's needed to do. He knows that he has to make the right plays, be open when you're open, be ready to shoot, and when we need a bucket, he can go get that. So he's been a very good addition for this team, and I'm loving the way he's been playing. Ever since he's been on this team, he's been averaging 12 points and 3 assists. And then you, of course, got their heart and soul and Marcus Smart, who has been averaging 13 and 5 while shooting 48 and 34 in that span of 10 games. They've all have been playing amazing. Even their younger guys, Aaron Naismith, Peyton Pritchard, when he gets time, they stepped it up. Grant Williams has been a really decent forward for them. A versatile big that can guard a lot of positions on the court, depending on who you're playing. And he's been really decent for them, even shooting the ball well on the offensive side. Ime Udoka, let's talk about him. A lot of Celtics fans, I know they didn't like him at all, because in the beginning of the season, they were at a point where they were giving up multiple leads. Case in point, they gave up a lead against us, the Cavaliers. I don't know if you're anybody new to this, but I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, and they gave up like a 20-point lead to us, and we won. And they did that multiple times earlier in the season. And everybody hated Ime Udoka. They said his rotations were bad, and he really just didn't know how to coach. Well, now, in this 10-game stretch, I know it's 10 games, but they've been doing this longer than this, probably for the last month and a half. They have the best defense and a top 10 offense, and they've been clicking on all cylinders. And a lot of that is due to Ime Udoka learning how to coach. That's the thing with NBA fans. We do this with players too. If you don't work right away, we're ready to give you up. We're ready to give you up. Like Jalen Green. A lot of people are already calling him a bust after thriving so hard just for the Houston Rockets to pick him. Now that he's having a bad start of his career, a lot of people are calling him a bust. I never understood that. Same thing with Ime Udoka. A lot of people was like, he's a terrible coach. He's not going to work out. He's probably going to get fired at the end of the year, just for having a bad start of the season. And when you really look at it, it wasn't really bad. They were over 500 mostly the whole season. But that's just how it is. That's just how it is in the NBA as fans. Yesterday, they played another team who has been super hot. The Philadelphia 76ers. It was supposed to be a great game, especially because it was on national TV. And basically, the Celtics dominated. On the road, they dominated. They held Joel Embiid to 19 points, and they didn't even have their starting big. Robert Williams didn't play. And we're talking about Joel Embiid. The dude, the game before that, dropped 40, 44, 10, and 10. We're talking about him. We're talking about probably a top 2 candidate in the MVP race. We're talking about that guy. They made him only score 19 points. What they did is something that a lot of teams have been trying to do, but they just cannot do it. They swarmed Embiid the whole game and made it so that the rest of the players are going to have to beat them. They were okay with Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris trying to beat them. But when it comes to Joel Embiid, you're not going to beat us. And it worked. They swarmed him the whole game. When double teaming someone like Embiid, you have to have elite rotations. And their rotations last night were on point. And it got to a point where the 76ers literally couldn't score. They lost by what? 48? At one point they were down by 54. It was just everything was working out for them. Also, Al Horford completely turned the clock and showed everyone why they traded for him. He showed prime Al Horford days when he was elite on defense. Elite. He played with Joel Embiid before, so he knows his tricks. He probably knows his tricks. He knows how to guard him. And he showed that yesterday. He completely shut him down. Like I said, they ended up beating a top team in the East. I believe the 76ers are a top 5 team in the East. I don't know because everybody in the top, 6 or 7 is separated by literally 2 games. So they probably dropped, but they beat a top team in the East. They're not even fully healthy, but they beat them by 48. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. And they did it in a dominant way, not just all offense. They broke their hearts on defense. Look at the score right now while I'm talking. It is 85-52. It was that bad. That bad. It was terrible. On the offensive side, I've said that, of course, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to do their thing. They have been elite. They are always going to be elite. They're going to always do their thing. But yesterday, we got a contribution from Aaron Nesmith, who hasn't been really good this season, but as of late has stepped it up a lot. He played really good defense, and since he played really good defense, they rewarded him on the defense. My fault. He played really good defense, and they rewarded him on the offensive side, and then gave him the ball. He ended up scoring 18 points. Derek White and Grant Williams, they also had 11. Grant Williams had 12. This team has plenty of weapons that they can go through and dissect teams, and they showed that yesterday. And that's why the title is the Boston Celtics just sent a warning to the whole league, because when they're clicking on all cylinders, we have the capabilities to shut down what many people would think is an unstoppable force in Joel Embiid. They did that. They already did that, man. Now, yesterday they did suffer a huge loss in Marcus Smart. I hope it's not bad, but the way he the way he went down and the way he had to get carried off court, it looked pretty bad. But hopefully it's not that bad. But even if it's that bad, and let's say he misses like a couple months, Brad Stevens, in his first year of being the GM, made an excellent trade for a guy like Derek White, who doesn't play the same as Marcus Smart. He's not the same heart and soul guy as Marcus Smart. But if you ask me, he probably brings more to this team than Marcus Smart. He's more of a point guard type player, but he can literally play both positions, the 2 or the 3. The 1 or the 2. He can even play the 3. He's tall enough. But he's more of a point guard than Marcus Smart ever was. That's not even me trying to disrespect Marcus Smart, but Derek White was a point guard before. So he probably fits better with this team, because everybody knows what this team really needs is a point guard. They need a point guard. They've been needing a point guard for the longest time. So shout out to Brad Stevens for making that amazing trade. And now we're about to see if it works out or not, because the way it looked like, we might be missing Marcus Smart. Well, I'm not a Celtics fan. I'm not going to say we. But they might be missing Marcus Smart for a long time. So shout out to that trade from Brad Stevens. Now we're looking at the contenders in the East. Of course, you have Milwaukee. I believe that they're in a tier by themselves. But then right under that tier, you have the Heat, the Nets, and the 76ers, who are kind of like the second tier contenders. And then you have the dark horse teams, like the Bulls and the Cavs. A lot of people might disagree and be like, oh, the Bulls are not on the same level as the Cavs. The Bulls cannot beat any team above them that I just named. They can't beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They can't beat the Heat, the Nets, 76ers. They just can't. So they're in the tier with us, because I think we can beat them. I don't know if a lot of people think so, but I think we can beat them. So they're in the tier with us. But the way the Celtics have been playing as of late, I have to put them in that same tier with us. They've been clicking on all cylinders, and they've been looking exciting, bro. And for them to make this quick turnaround like this, I like what I'm seeing from them. I really do. I like what I'm seeing, and I can't wait to see the ceiling for this team, because if it's another first round exit, I'm not gonna lie, I would be done with this duo. Yes, they've only been playing like this for the last 3 years, but either trade for a point guard, get them a real point guard, because they still haven't had a real point guard. We love Kemba, we love Kyrie. Well, some may love Kyrie. I love Kyrie, but Kyrie is not a real point guard. Kemba and Kyrie are shooting guards stuck in a point guard body. Give these two a real point guard, and if you don't, then trade one of them and go get Dame. A lot of people would think Jason Tatum is the best player on the team. I don't think so. I just think he has the best face. I mean, pause. I think he's the face of the team because he reached his peak faster than Jaylen Brown. And I'm not saying they're at their peak, but I'm saying Jason Tatum did it at the highest of the highs, going against LeBron. And right after that series, he was basically named the best player on the team. So I understand why people still think Jason Tatum is the best player on the team. I think it's Jaylen Brown. But if it's Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown can go out there and get you Dame. Jaylen Brown can go out there and get you Karl Anthony Towns. So if it's another first round exit this year, I would entertain those options. Just entertain them, because at some point you got to switch it up. Like if Kawhi and Paul George were healthy this year and they were not winning, and they probably didn't win in the playoffs, I would have said the same thing for them, because they're the perfect example to compare to this team. But I don't want to make this a negative video, man. Shout out to the Boston Celtics. They have been hooping. Jason Tatum, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Jason Tatum, he has been hooping crazy as of late. And excited to see him in the All-Star game. Really excited to see him in the All-Star game. Other than that, this is it for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I kind of want to do a Trey Man video tomorrow. You know what? No. I know what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make y'all wait. See y'all tomorrow. Peace out.